Hello, wonderful, beautiful people. Thank you so much for watching the Kelly Chronicles and this quarantine edition of DIY Your Own Paper Room. It helps if you have tape, glue, and scissors. However, what you really need is paper. If you do not have glue or tape, you can create your own paste using flour and water mixed together, as you can see in this muddy, messy, goop-like gloop that you definitely and most securely use as glue. Ha, Elmers, you think we need you? No, we don't. You might be helpful, but you're not necessary. This is what you call making it work. So in creating your room, you don't necessarily have to use paper for this. It could be a shoebox if you have one, but if you don't have a shoebox, you might want to use paper like this. Folding the bottom down gives it more strength to stand, and then of course you're going to arrange them. You're going to glue them either with your glue or your water and flour paste. I used 4 papers for this. You could use more and make it larger. As you'll see later in the video, I do expand the room. So of course, after the 4 papers, I believe I have about 8 total. Here, there's just 4 papers. Again, you can always do something different if it creates a 3-dimensional room, and those are the resources that you have. Alright, so this is how to make a bed or a couch. I fold the paper once, I cut it, and if you don't have scissors, you can fold many times, and then you can rip off the paper. Now to have even corners, I'm folding down one piece, or one side at a time, and they're just thin strips, and I'm kind of measuring out, as you can see, so that it's a similar width as the first fold that I made. I measure it out and make a mark with my pencil, trying to make the folds as even as possible. Alright, so after you fold it, you're going to unfold it so that you see the lines, and then you're going to cut a diagonal line from the corner to where both folds intersect, as you can see. And then I'm going to fold one in, and as you can see, we're creating part of a box, and then we're going to glue one of those flaps in. And with this example, I thought instead of using a glue stick, I thought I would show you that it is definitely possible to use that flour and water paste as glue if that is what you have for glue. Okay, and then you smooth out. Try to make sure you wipe off the paste that's extra and that has fallen onto the paper so you don't see it. You only want the paste in between the papers so you don't see it. If you're using this paste, you might want to hold the paper down for just a little bit. This is a speed well, it's not speed drawing, but I sped up the video for this, as you can see, but I did hold down the flaps for probably a good, 8 to 10 seconds to make sure it stayed. And then I'm wiping off the excess flour and water. And there you go. You could use that as a bed, but I thought it'd be more fun to make it more fancy. And I'd actually cut out slits so that it looks like you can see the bedposts on the bottom. And so I'm just cutting out a little rectangle on the bottom so that on the corners you see the bedposts. I was actually talking to my grandma the other day, and she said that when she was growing up and they couldn't really afford to buy glue because they had to buy all their groceries for 12 kids. She's one of 12 kids, and she said she also used flour and water as a paste because they didn't have glue. So if you don't have glue, it's really no stress at all. I don't even think I have Elmer's glue. I think I only at least I don't have that much of the Elmer's glue. I just have the glue stick. So no worries. And the glue sticks work great too, but if you want to try out the flour and water, it's a really great way to make it work. And then this, of course, I'm just adding a rectangle on the back to show the bed frame or the headboard for the bed. You don't have to have this. This is just an option. It's nice because then if you make pillows, they can go ahead and rest on the headboard or backboard, whatever you call it. And so making pillows, this is a really fun one. You just take a small rectangle and then you fold it in half, and then you bunch up a lot of different strips of paper. I just used paper that I had cut, just extra strips that I had lying around. And then you glue the edges, or you put glue there, and it's almost like a closed sandwich, and then you just close it all up, and the little paper strips act as stuffing. Okay, and then you have your pillow. I made mine a little bit too big for the bed, so I went ahead and trimmed it down. And then if you want to make a fancy pillow, I'm not even sure what these are called, but they're like the cylinder type pillows, you can. And I just rolled it up and then glued it. I still wanted a fancier pillow, so I went ahead and cut a smaller rectangle and did the same thing. I folded it and then I put scraps inside of it. I glued it on the edges. Press down. And it's okay to crinkle up the paper to make it look like it has that fabric texture. And so that's how your pillows can look. If you want to make them look a little more fancy, you can take the scissors, and if you just cut fringe, so lots and lots of small lines with scissors, it can make your pillow look like it has fringe on the ends and make it look a little more fancy. Then after that, if you take your fingers and kind of ruffle up the little fringe on the pillow, it makes it look a little bit more lifelike and like it has texture. All right, making a dresser. This is a different way of making a rectangular prism or some sort of partway box. You just fold in half and then you fold each half again. So you basically have 4 folds on a rectangle. I'm taping it. So this is the third option. Besides the glue stick and besides the flour paste, you can use tape if you want. I do recommend that you try not to let the tape show too much. If you're gonna tape it, maybe tape it in the back of the furniture. And then I'm taking extra thin strips, so thinner rectangles, and I am folding them. I'm folding them into 4 sections again, so folding them 3 ways and then 4 sections, and then I'm placing them where the holes are in the rectangle. And then I as you can see, I had to cut a little bit to make it fit. And then I just slide them in where the sides are because I didn't have coverings for that. And then I'm adding glue to make sure that it stays in the dresser. So this is just one way that you could do it. If you liked the way that I created the bed a little easier, you could create a bed or a dresser using the method that I used to create the bed. And then I'm taking small thin strips and then I'm folding them twice to make the dresser handles. And then I'm gluing them on. This was really tricky for me because they're so small. I feel like getting the handles on just right was definitely a struggle for me at first. Fixing the side of it because it was sticking out, so I had to add a little bit more glue and an extra strip to hold it in place. And then as you arrange your pieces, you can kind of decide where you want your furniture in your room. And as you can see, that dresser was way too big for the room, so I could have made a smaller dresser, but I honestly thought it'd be more fun to make the room larger. So again, I'm taking paper and then I am folding it so that it is more stable, and then I'm attaching those papers down. Then I'm trimming the sides. You really want to make sure that it looks as nice as you can make it. So I trimmed that off because it was extra. Putting the furniture in and seeing that it fits. All right, so making a rug, this is super simple. Just take a rectangle, double check that it's gonna look good and fit, and then I just add fringe. So just cutting the sides many times, just like I did with the pillow. Of course, this is a sped up video. I don't recommend cutting exactly that fast or you're gonna cut yourself unless you have magical superpowers. All right, making a trash can. So I need a rectangle for this, and you're going to fold one part of it, and then you're gonna cut little slits, then you cut corners of those little marks, and then I glue the bottom. So that, well, I glue the side first, looks like. And then I glue the little tabs on the bottom so it becomes a cylinder. And that is your trash can. You can put all the little extra pieces in there for your scraps of trash. Boom, done. Well, maybe. All right, creating a canvas and painting or some sort of mirror. Think about your wall, because you're gonna wanna think about, am I gonna have posters in the room? Is there gonna be a mirror? Is there gonna be a painting? So same thing with the bed. I folded it, the edges, and then I cut the corners. Then I glued down that extra flap. This is gonna make it stick out of the wall as if it either is in a frame or it's a canvas, or it's a thicker mirror. And then another way you can create paintings or art for the wall or posters is you can get a rectangle, trim off the edges, and then you're just gluing those edges on top again as if it's a frame. So it's pretty self-explanatory right here. You can see that. Not sure if you can hear my golden retriever over here, Jet. He is, well, technically he's my roommate's, but he's snoring. It's pretty funny. Okay, creating a ceiling beam. This is really important to create if you don't have a ceiling for your room and you want to still have a light or some sort of chandelier. So I just folded it many times, as you can see, 2 papers together in a really narrow line. And then this is creating a chandelier. There are so many different ways you could create a chandelier, but this is just one way I thought would be pretty easy. So you're just taking little thin strips and you're gluing them in circles about the same width. And then I have that little tiny piece of scrap paper that I kind of crumbled up to be the middle of for the light. And then I assembled them all in like a sphere shape. Okay, gluing the tops and the bottoms, and then I had to create a chain for it that I glued, looks like in a circle, and I glued that to the top of the chandelier. And then that way I will be able to attach it to the beam for the room. Like that. All right, I hope that you enjoyed watching this tutorial on creating a paper room. And it doesn't have to necessarily be a bedroom. Your paper room could be a ballroom, it could be a game room, it could be a garage with so many different types of cars or motorcycles made out of paper. It could be a gymnasium with different sports equipment. It's really up to you. I'm so excited to see what you come up with, and I hope you have fun. I had a ton of fun making this. And yeah, if you like this video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. All right, have a good day. Bye.